Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
What do you think of school dress codes?
As a parent, I kind of like them. When I was a student, I go for it, girls. But
so what about if your kid's school instituted a uniform policy?
Yes and no. It would suck because now I gotta buy at least 3 of everything because, you know, they can like change them every other day or some shit. It would kind of suck, but I mean, I'd go for it. I don't know if there's a benefit to it or not.
See, because I went to an elementary school that had uniforms K through 6, and then when you got to 7th and 8th grade, because it was a K through 8 school, so junior high age, we could wear what we wanted to. So I finally got to show a little individuality.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's way easy getting up in the morning and just throw it on a fucking uniform.
I suppose. I mean,
at Epiphany, every day, red polo shirt and navy blue pants. Or navy blue shorts. And then sometimes a navy blue sweater over the red shirt. But red and blue, that's your fucking options. It's still the options, but now they let the girls do it. Also.
What would the girls wear?
They would wear white polos and navy blue pants or jumpers.
Okay.
Like a plaid jumper, not with the white and the navy blue. It was mostly green with like some red and yellow lines around white square. I don't know.
My best childhood friend, him and his brother and sister went to a Catholic school, and theirs was, it was like navy blue, like khaki pants or whatever, and light blue dress shirts. They could either be buttoned down or some of them were like polo shirts. And the girls, they wore, I think that, God, I can't remember. I dated his sister for a while, but that was after all that. I know they had plaid skirts, and I can't remember if it was a white shirt with like a blue sweater or if it was the same kind of shirt. I can't remember the top. I just remember the skirt.
Well, in high school, there was a dress code that was almost like a uniform. The guys could wear, at least the first year when I was a freshman at Grace, a shirt that had a combination of navy blue and white. Any shirt with a collar, any combination of navy blue and white.
Okay.
So that was cool because you could still mix it up some.
Yeah, a little. I liked, this.
And then you could have khaki or navy blue dress pants of any brand. So you could find baggy pants and still look cool. I think I owned one pair of white pants that I think still worked within the confines of that. But then as the years went on, it got more restrictive to just a solid color polo and then khaki or blue pants.
Did that drive you nuts or?
No.
No? Okay.
No. The reason I brought all of that up is a local story has gone national of a kindergarten girl. She's 5 years old, I believe.
Okay.
She wanted to wear a pretty sundress to school. She picked it out. She was all jazzed to show it to her teacher and her friends to see how pretty she looked. 5-year-old girl. And her mom's like, okay. So she sends her to school in the sundress with a sweater over it. When she comes home that night, she's wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Because she took off the sweater or cardigan and it just had spaghetti straps on her shoulders. Well, there's a district-wide policy at every age level against any sort of dress with spaghetti straps. And her teacher stated that, well, you can't wear that dress because it interferes with your privacy. You need privacy. I don't even know why that's the choice of words. It sounds like somebody that's really fucking old and hasn't had a dick anywhere near them in decades.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm picturing.
So many dickless decades. It's a catchphrase. Say that
Your
6 times
privacy,
fast. Many dickless decades. 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 So the mom was pissed because she thought, what the hell are you doing? She's 5 years old. She just wanted to show her pretty dress. Don't sexualize an elementary age child by teaching them to be ashamed of their body.
If you want to look at it that way, it's like, what kind of pervert's looking at a 5-year-old going, ooh, that's sexy. Wait a minute, that's against school policy.
I think the mindset is that, you know, in the older girls that are developed, obviously it's a distraction because there'd be more cleavage showing. But if you let the younger kids get away with it versus the older kids, well, that seems unfair to the older kids. It's not their fault they have
Or
tits.
maybe if the younger kids will go up and be like, oh, I'm going to dress like this all the time, even when I'm old.
Stop the habit before it starts. So they're trying for uniformity in the policy. And I don't necessarily see it as a sexualization of a 5-year-old's body or mind to talk about it's, you know, bad to show off shoulders.
There's no such thing with a 5-year-old.
And I just think that the school overshot the mark to some degree, but really that the mom kind of needs to relax.
I think if the school would have just, okay, wear it for today, but we're going to send a note home with your mom, you know, pointing out the policy in the handbook or whatever it is. And it's like, you know, even though the dress was pretty, we let her wear it today, but in future, it needs to be refrained to wear spaghetti strap dresses. Yeah. A simple letter home or an email or a phone call would have sufficed.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. I'm thinking they should have just told her, put the sweater back on because you can't have a dress with spaghetti straps on your shoulders. So you can't wear that dress anymore. You're good for the rest of the day. I wouldn't have made her change, but put the sweater back on. Mm-hmm. Because that way she's within the policy. I guess that was the mistake as she took off the sweater.
I wonder what the dress code is at some of my kids' schools, because I went to my kid's middle school the other day to meet with his teachers, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, these are 7th and 8th graders? Good God.
What they were wearing?
What the girls were wearing, and some of the guys too. I mean, you know, it's just like, you know,
horn it up.
Thuggish. But the girls horn it up, and it's just like, you're 12 and 13, for God's sakes.
Cover up.
You know, but again, I don't want to be that prudish person, but it's like, you're at an age now where you just don't need to be dressing like that.
Well, you're calling undue attention to your body in ways that you're not yet emotionally mature enough to handle and ward off the advances. Because some of these girls are doing it just because they want male attention now because they have tits. And they're like, oh, well, I was nobody last year, but now I've blossomed and all the guys want to talk to me. Yes, because you've got tits. And they want to see them and play with them.
That's all they're interested in right now. This is not going to be a relationship that's going to last.
And they don't want to talk to you about how depressed you are over your parents' divorce. They want to get at those titties.
And they're not upset like you are about your phone being taken away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, that's another one. My nephew, he's 13.
Mm-hmm.
And his parents, my sister-in-law and her husband, caught him or looked at his phone history and saw a bunch of porn on there and took his phone away. But at the same time, I'm like, why?
Let him vent his frustrations that way.
I mean, we didn't have that option, so you could seek out magazines and possibly, if you knew somebody that had access to, like, DVDs or VHS tapes of pornography.
That was my house.
Or Skinamax. If you stayed up late enough,
at some point, yeah,
the movies would show quasi-sex scenes.
HBO and Showtime would do it too, just not as much.
Oh, there weren't as many boobs on HBO and Showtime.
Not as much. HBO did have one called Passion Cove. That was interesting.
Passion Cove?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that shit. I mean, there was the Real Sex series and Taxi Cab Confessions.
It was soft porn. It was softcore. I mean,
Red Shoe Diaries.
You just couldn't see penis, but you could see everything else.
You couldn't see penis.
Thankfully.
Oh. Drats.
Some of them were pretty good, man. I'll tell you what, I recorded some of them. Even as an 18-year-old, I recorded some of them. Yeah. That tape burned up in the house fire.
Oh. I had it hidden in a part of the basement where I didn't think my wife would find it.
Along with Girls Gone Wild and a couple others that I stole from my dad's house.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You're raiding the old man's porn stash?
Some of it was pretty good. Not all of it was from the 1970s.
God, I don't want to... I'm picturing it now. Your old man just sitting there sweating.
Miami Spice 1 and 2.
He's just breathing through his mouth. Just fucking going to town.
Did I ever tell you about the one that I found? And I, like, after watching it for 5 minutes, I shut it off and was like, what the fuck?
That your dad had?
Yeah.
Why? What was it?
It looked like something right out of the Bible almost. Like, there were guys dressed as, like, Peter Pan. Not the one that flies, but like the half man, half goat. I can't remember what they're called.
Centaurs?
Well, no, those are horses. Those
Minotaurs.
are goats. Minotaurs. I think. Yeah, like the bottom was like goat legs, but the top was a man. There were guys like that running around. Or a
satyr.
Whatever they called it. Having sex with girls, and there was this really, really fat chick getting boinked by like 2 black guys, and then at the end, this midget dove into her pussy.
Well, that sounds gross.
It was gross. That was all within 5 minutes, too. I'm just like, ugh!
Well, here's the thing of how this story relates to something that's been going on like crazy the last 5 years. As jeans have fallen out of favor, like it literally, denim does not sell like it used to.
I cannot get my daughters to wear jean pants.
Because everything's fucking leggings and stretch pants.
It's all leggings and stretch pants, and I have to point out to them when they're see-through.
Yoga pants have been banned in a number of schools because of how thin they are. But when the market is primarily pushing that as an option, what are girls left to do?
I see jeans at the stores all the time. Not a big selection, but I see them in the girls' department. They're there.
I'm willing to bet that the market is now 60-40, 60% yoga pants, leggings.
Probably.
And stuff like that. And 40% everything else.
Yeah.
But even the fucking shorts that they're pushing these days are like the high rise up to the navel, and then they're like high rise thigh. It's like way bad. Holy shit.
I don't know. I can't.
The clothing, the form fittingness of the clothing, and the amount of borderline butt cheek I see when I go to the store during the summer months.
I don't know. When I was at my kids' school, they were all wearing pants, but I can't remember what my daughters wear for shorts.
As a guy, you have it easy. It's hard to fuck up the dress code policy.
Jean shorts, t-shirt,
right?
Long leg jean pants, t-shirt, maybe a sweater.
Well, and a few of these girls that have been sent home for wearing shirts that showed like 1 inch of midriff above their navel because their pants went above their navel. And you get both sides of the argument like, well, it's not like anybody should be thinking of her sexually. The teachers need to calm down. But then there's other people like, you know the dress code and you went to school wearing that shit, so what the hell? It's your own fault for getting in trouble.
That's probably something I should look into, what the dress code actually is at my kids' schools.
It's making me think, I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, it's like, I guess the only other argument made is like, okay, these girls go to a swimming pool and they wear bikinis, so what's the big deal if they're showing an inch of midriff when they're at school?
Apparently, it's too much skin. It's a distraction.
For who?
Well, that's the thing.
I know the boys.
They say, well, you're up. What is it? You're disturbing the learning environment by welcoming uncouth attention. Or
maybe
some
between
shit like
classes they are, but when you're in class, you're all kind of facing the same direction. So it's not like you can be like, oh, I can see her midriff through her desk.
I don't know. Whatever. Some girls in high school used to like low ride in their chair, like scoot back, and then have terrible posture. And then the way they were sitting, and if you sit up on your desk, you can totally look down their shirt when you're behind them.
I guess.
And then the worst, this is funny, the worst days for dress code at Totino Grace when I went there for high school between 96 and 2000 are days when we had in-school liturgy, mass. Mm-hmm. So it was out of uniform dress up. And then it was like a contest for the girls to out-slut each other without getting in trouble.
Yeah. My favorite days when I went to high school was Spirit Week when they had Pajama Day.
Oh.
That was always nice.
Yeah.
Some girls really went into it. They had rollers in their hairs and everything like that. And other girls, it's just like, yes, slut.
So let's get back to the topic here now. Let's say one of your daughters goes to school. We'll say it's the older one.
Drama.
So it's drama. She's how old now?
11.
She goes to school wearing just, leggings. Not very tight, but let's say there's like a diamond-shaped cutout on each thigh, like on the side of the thigh. If the school deemed that inappropriate as an unnecessary show of skin and they made her change and sent her home, how would you feel?
I would just, I'd be a little miffed because, like I said, how about a phone call? Just let her wear it for that day, but then a phone call saying that's not appropriate, because I can see that not being appropriate. But I think making her change into clothes that aren't hers and making more of a spectacle out of it that would kind of make me angry, because now she's going to be very self-conscious about everything.
Well, she's going to be embarrassed when other people ask what's going on, especially her friends that notice now she's wearing a different outfit, or if she was sent down to the office in the middle of class, sitting there and the teacher noticed and be like, those pants are inappropriate, go to the office.
Yeah, that part would make me angry. I mean, not irate, but and I'd just be like, next time, just let her finish out the day. Send me a letter, call me, email me. I mean, every time they run out of lunch money, I get 3 fucking phone calls, 6 goddamn emails, and goddamn text message.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
But if there's a disciplinary matter or a concern, you have to show up in person. They can fucking harass the shit out of you via telecommunications for money for food. But, heaven forbid that they don't just wait till the end of class to address the issue with the clothing. It always seems like they're doing it in a panicked state. Never like, well, okay, we see that they didn't like our daughter's outfit because it was too showy.
Mm-hmm.
So after class, the teacher asked her if she could stay behind because they had asked her a question about, say they just lie and go, I got to ask you a question about your homework from last week. Everybody else leaves and they go, okay, I'm sorry that I had to lie to you, but I did not want to make a scene. I didn't want to embarrass you because you deserve to have some privacy in this. I think that outfit is a little too risque for the dress code. And I would ask that you not wear it again. And I'm not going to send you to the office, but I do have to let them know that I talked to you about it so that if you do it again, then it'll become an issue. Let's not get to that. There's this very calm, neutral middle ground that never seems to be one of the options, or at least that's not how it's reported.
It seems like the reactions of most people in positions like that have to be extremely exaggerated.
Well, have you?
There's no middle ground, right? Either they don't react at all when they should, or they overreact when they shouldn't.
Do you remember most teachers?
Kind of. It's been a while.
Did your school have a no PDA policy like mine did?
PDA?
No public displays of affection.
I don't think so, because I would display a little bit in the hallways, and there was always those 2 lesbian girls that were making out when I was going to one of my classes. So I mean, that was always enjoyable. But I'd never heard of anybody at my school being told no kissing, no contact, no hugging, or anything like that. I'd never heard that in any of my years of school.
Right, and then we didn't have a lot of people from South America because there was also that dual PDA policy where they didn't allow any Peruvian dicks. No, not really. Here's an instance. I'm sitting in the lunchroom with my, at the time, girlfriend, the end of freshman year, and I've got my arm around her.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, I would do it habitually. I'd eat, and then I'd just like kind of lean and put my arm around her chair.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, this female teacher, big fat fucking ugly Spanish teacher, walks up and grabs my wrist and just gently pushes it away and says, "We prefer people to sit alone," and just walks away. And I'm like, that's not even
you said
proper
alone.
Grammar. What the fuck? And then I get to French class. And some smart-ass guys are like, oh, what'd she say? And I told him, he's like, well, why do you always put your arm around your girlfriend? And me and the guy next to me I'm friends with are like,
she's mine.
Is that a rhetorical question? Why do I put my arm around my girlfriend? Like, I'd sneak a quick couple of kisses before I'd go into French class because lunch preceded French class.
Okay.
So afterwards we'd go and I'd have my shit for French class, and then we'd walk there and I'd get a couple of quick pecks in, and then she'd go to her class and I'd go to French class. The point being is not only did that teacher have an idiotic response, you could have just like waved at me and said, "Come here." Or another teacher that heard me say Jesus Christ and like just walked up to our whole table and says, "You cannot talk like that.
Well,
you know it's against the rules and it's a commandment." And I'm thinking, yeah, it's Catholic school, but why don't you mellow the fuck out?
Do you know what I am saying?
Why the fuck not?
Yeah, seriously. Like, that was a female teacher that heard that. Here's another time my mouth got me in trouble. The dean of the school, Mr. Niggin. Not even a big dude. Scary fucking dude,
wow,
Mr. Niggin.
What a name.
Dave Niggin, yeah. It's Nigon, not like you think it's spelled.
I'd say Nigon. It's Nigon, all right?
That
not
just
Nigon.
sounds like you have a speech impediment.
Nigon.
He wasn't a deaf. Anyway, so Mr. Niggin's walking by our table, and I'm joking with my friend. I'm like, yeah, because you eat like a fucking gorilla. And he's walking by, he stops, he looks at me. I'm like, sorry, Mr. Niggin. I'll watch my mouth. That's the dean of the school.
Right there.
Dean of the school. He stopped. He shot me a look. I saw him. I knew what I did. I acknowledged that I was being corrected. And guess what? He didn't catch me doing that again. But he didn't go, hey, you cannot be talking like that. Get on my up. Like, he didn't melt down. That guy got it. He understood discipline. Unfortunately, if it involved one of his football players, he maybe was not as stern as he needed to be. But for the most part, he understood discipline. Here's another instance where Mr. Niggin did me a solid, but still kind of fucked me anyway. That same girlfriend I was dating, one of her friends was an annoying little bitch. And she sees me talking to another chick, like leaning on this counter talking to this chick. So she walks up, pantses me. My boxers stayed up.
Oh, thank God.
But I quick pulled them back up. I turned around, and she had joked about doing that to me before because I was sagging my pants. She's like, I'm just going to pants you one day. I grabbed her by the arm, and I slapped her across the face. And then she went and cried in the locker room and then called my girlfriend at home to tell her what I'd just done to her, like she was the victim. Mm-hmm. By today's standards, she committed a sexual assault.
Yeah,
basically.
And then you're guilty of battery.
True. But I went to go tell Mr. Niggin. He's like, I'll talk to her. If he talked to her, I never found out about her. It didn't seem that way. But he also didn't punish me for slapping her.
You totally
Action,
slapped her.
Reaction. He could have probably, pardon the Catholic school pun, nailed me to a cross for slapping a girl, but I had been violated in a way that if my ass were exposed, holy shit, have fun dealing with the wrath of my mom.
Yeah. No, getting just short trip back to that PDA thing. It probably was allowed because I snuck my ex into one of the school dances, and one of my teachers, Mr. Canoodla, he was one of those teachers that got...
What is his name?
Canoodla.
Canoodla.
It was like Knutilla, Canoodla.
Just because it's got the sound canoodle in it.
Yeah.
Go on.
He saw me, he was one of those teachers that got it, and when she was leaving, I walked with her to the doors, and she gave me like a huge kiss. Like, we must have been kissing for almost 30 seconds, you know? And I turned around and started walking away, and she's like, bye. And I looked, and there he's kind of looking at me with a grin on my face, like, boy, you replaced that one girl awfully quick, didn't you?
Oh.
Yeah. And he's just sitting there with another teacher. I don't remember which teacher it was. And I just like, yeah, kind of did, you know? So, I mean, PDA was no big deal.
Yeah. Well, back to the topic at hand. I just would... No, because we went off topic on purpose. I would implore more schools and teachers to take a tempered approach to this situation and make earlier contact with a parent. Does everything have to be we did this and sent a note home, and then your kid comes home crying, so you immediately have an emotional reaction?
No.
They're handicapping your ability to also handle it maturely by doing it just like under the radar. Like, they don't want to deal with you. They just want to handle the situation, which is fine. It's at school. It's on their terms. It's their turf. Mm-hmm. However, this is something that involves a parent because these are minors.
Yeah, just handling it better in general will make things go easier no matter what.
And maybe, just put the T-shirt over the little girl's sundress. She's 5 fucking years old. I know what it's like because I have a 6-year-old who loves to wear dresses to school. But
that would be Turtle. She likes to wear dresses.
They all have sleeves.
I think she likes to wear tank tops. Both Drama and Turtle, and some of them are spaghetti, and I haven't heard anything. So,
well, stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll see if anything gets said, because Drama's getting older.
Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It. That is at What Do We Call It. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan Tim.
And that's the end.